Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Amelia, and this is How to Breast Cancer at thebreastcancerguide.com. Today, we are once again talking about a favorite topic, and that is beauty. And we are joined by Tatiana Morales, who originally joined us for our May 10th beauty event, where we talked about all kinds of different aspects of beauty. And she covered a very important component of it, which is how do we really care for our skin, for our hair, for our nails during treatment, as we know that is an incredibly challenging time and has so many repercussions. Tatiana is a licensed and trained oncology esthetician. And she has two certifications from rather prestigious programs. One is the Oncology Spa Solutions and Oncology Skin Therapeutics. Her company is called Wellness on Wheels by Lilybell, and she also is the founder of a nonprofit called Wow Therapy for Hope, which she created to help those that are navigating a cancer journey be able to manage well the side effects from chemotherapy, as well as from radiation, especially on the skin, which I know from firsthand experience can be quite challenging. So Tatiana, welcome. It is always a pleasure to be with you, and it's so great to see you.
No, thank you, Millie. Thank you for having me and inviting me again. It's one of your beautiful events.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure. We had a lot of great input regarding your segment of the live event that we did on May the 10th. And we had a lot of great follow-up questions, which I know you were generous in providing us the answers to those, and we posted those on our website. This is a segment when we talk about skincare and nail care and just, hair care in general, that not everyone that begins a cancer treatment process has access to the right support in letting them know what to do. I was very fortunate that one of your seminars I joined early on in my journey, and I was able to get a lot of good insights from what you shared. But I know that there are a lot of patients that don't have that as part of their treatment process because it's not offered, or they may live in parts of the country where it's not accessible to them. So part of the reason why we created this platform is to be able to bring these kinds of topics to the forefront and to make it available for everyone. So I want to start with, always the basics and really ground us on some of these basics, because we know that a lot of this can be overwhelming and many people don't know even where to start. So help us with that. Like, how do we get started when all this stuff starts to happen?
Okay. Well, first of all, I just need you to, when you start getting overwhelmed, to just take a breath and relax. Don't get more overwhelmed than you have been already. Skincare, yes, it is a big thing, especially because, as we were talking before, chemotherapy, it goes everything through your skin, out through your skin. Exactly. So that's why you see all the different changes in your skin. Sometimes when you used to have acne, for example, you don't have any acne anymore. Now you have more dry skin. Or then you start getting some rashes and you don't know where they are coming from or anything like that. Sometimes you see those rashes with pustules, meaning that it's like white head kind of pimples. We can call it like that. And they are not acne, they are not pimples. So it is super important to know that everything that happens to your skin, you should treat it like to calm, not to really like solve the problem, meaning for the acne part, to get salicylic acid and put it on and try to dry the pimple, because that's not exactly what is happening. So everything what you need to do is just, as you said, start from the basics. So just calm the skin, hydrate the skin. That is the most important thing. And avoid everything that is harsh to your skin, meaning no exfoliation, no waxing, no any kind of microblading or anything like that. Because one of the things that we see is when they tell you that you're going to lose your eyebrows, it's like, okay, let's go and have some microblading before I lose my eyebrows. No. You don't want to do that. You also want to do everything again, hydration and not opening the skin. So that's why we avoid everything like it's very aggressive to your skin. Because if we open it, then bacteria, it's an open door for bacteria to get in. And that's something that we just want to avoid.
And that's a
So
really important point. I want to pause here because I think it's so
sure.
important what you're sharing about the skin. I think that there are so many things that are almost become counterintuitive because what we don't understand as a patient necessarily, because most people have never experienced something as aggressive as chemotherapy or radiation, is what you said is exactly that. It's going through and out the skin. So in many ways, the skin is kind of that, that porous surface is going out. And
Yes.
I know for me, I started to notice, the rashes that you're talking about happened usually within probably the first 3 treatments or so. So about, a month in, it started to happen, and it was rather unpredictable. There were spots and things like that. And so I, went very gentle on my skin for those reasons, because I was concerned of what was happening. And thankfully it's something I was able to manage over time. But I think a lot of people, to your point, if you start to see either acne or pimples or other things, you go back to the assumptions that you used before, but those techniques are no longer applicable because it's a different condition that is happening to your skin than what was before. It's not about oil secretion. It's about the fact that the medications and the treatments are going through your skin and out and out.
Exactly. And you, as a matter of fact, you are having like a natural, if we can say it, exfoliation with the chemo.
Right.
So that's why you don't need an extra exfoliation. You will see accumulation of dead skin cells, and you will see like some patches and everything. But you shouldn't do anything, any harsh exfoliation. You just need to, again, at the beginning, just calm the skin. There are some little brushes that actually you can put it in your hand that are made of silicone, and you can find it in Amazon. I don't have the exact name of it, but it is like a little brush that you put your hand through it, and you can actually get a little like sensation of exfoliation, and that in a very delicate way, it will remove or help you to remove the dead skin. But it is not exfoliating because it's not, it's nothing harsh to your skin. So that will help.
And that's a gentle way to shed that, as opposed to what we normally would have thought about with something a little harsher, or an exfoliator that has already that gritty, kind of sand texture, which I've never been really a fan of, but I know that they work well on normal skins. So your suggestion is, just a gentler way to get rid of all that is the best way to go.
Yeah. And actually, maybe now that you're saying that, exfoliation, it gets like with time, we have seen, or we're seeing that it's not as good as we thought for the skin, not only for people that are going through treatment, but for anybody.
Interesting. Yeah, I've always, again, to me, it has always felt like something so incredibly harsh on skin that doesn't feel that it warrants it. I think it's different if you are treating skin that is, for instance, on the ankles, or skin that's a little bit rougher, right? That's natural to actually do that. But for the face, and especially the hands, that can be, I think, obviously really complex. So tell us also a little bit about, caring for the hair. So some patients experience hair thinning. It doesn't fall out completely. Other patients, it falls out completely. For me, within 3 weeks of my very first treatment, all of my hair fell out. And so that's the other part, that even though everyone hears about the possibility of hair loss, I think as a patient, you're always hoping that you're going to fall into that percentage, albeit a small one, that doesn't suffer the hair loss. And so then when it happens, I think it's the immediacy. So it starts to fall out in clumps. It almost feels, at least for me, it almost felt like something was like crawling through underneath my hair. And I assumed at the time that that meant that that was what was happening, is that those cells were dying off. How, and then most folks don't know what to do in terms of caring for now their scalp, because basically that's what it ends up being. Tell us a little bit about that.
The most important thing to know is if you are a patient that is going through chemo and you know you're going to lose your hair, because sometimes you assume, but it's not for sure that you're going to lose it. But if you know, as a matter of fact, that the doctor says, yeah, definitely you're
Highly
going to lose it.
likely.
Exactly. If you have long hair, just start cutting it up. Okay, just go by stages, because it is less traumatic to see when you're losing the hair when you have long hair than when you have short hair. So that's something that you should do. Then after, when you start losing your hair, and what you said is totally right, normally it's 15 days after your first chemo when you start losing your hair. It is, don't shave it, at least don't shave it to the scalp, because that will irritate more the scalp. So just go with the machine on number 2 or number 3, whatever is more comfortable for you, and just cut the, whatever is left. And always just hydrate the scalp, because it is very, very sensitive. And you will see sometimes, not always, but sometimes you will see also that rash that we were talking about, or the pimples, or everything. And it's because it is so sensitive. You just need to take I'm a fan of the oils, and the more natural, the better. So if you have coconut oil, if you have avocado oil, if you have calendula oil, any of the oils, just put it on your scalp and start massaging. Having a pillow that is I forgot not cotton, but silky material.
Right.
It
Or
will
a
be
satin,
better.
something satin.
Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly.
Yes, that would be the best, for it doesn't irritate your scalp. So that will be good. Also, if you have a cover, like sometimes we have little cups that you can put on top of your head, and they are cotton, but they actually stay in your scalp. So when you move, it doesn't move around, because it's just the friction that really irritates your scalp. But you need to continue hydrating. You can use the same shampoo that you were using before. Most of the people, they go to something like very baby care shampoo. It is not necessary. And sometimes, believe it or not, the ingredients in those shampoos are not the best.
So that is another excellent point. So I had one of our readers that said they had been told to use baby shampoo, but then they read some of the labels and they found that there were, that it had like alcohol. I mean, there were things in it that seemed harsher than what she was using before. And so you think implicitly baby shampoo, it's supposed to be the gentler side of things. One would think that, but not always the case. Yeah.
No, not always. Just try to go to any place that sells natural things. Something that is very good is the shampoos that have tea tree oil in it, because tea tree oil is antibacterial. So that will help you with the itchiness and with any rashes that you could have. But just hydrate it. Or even if you want the same cleanser that you're using on your face, you can also use it on your scalp. It's not different. It's skin.
Because it's the continuum. And I think that's the other part. So I continued my shampoo and conditioner routine. The shampoo that I was using before was kind of a coconut oil based shampoo. So it was super gentle. I still use it to this day. And I found it that it was soothing to just do that, because like you indicated, I shaved my head using the machine. I went to my hairstylist and she did it for me. I never shaved it with like a razor. I never used, I know people that use shaving cream and actually shaves. I more did the buzz of my hair, if you will. And some of it stayed, and it looked, it was not it wasn't the best look. I think it would have looked better if I had shaved it, with with the cream, but I didn't do that. And so then it just kind of stayed in a particular phase. It was almost like a little fuzz, and that's what
Yes.
stayed on top of my head until
Yes.
I wrapped up the first treatment. And it was actually towards the end of that first round. There were 8 rounds of that first kind of super aggressive chemo. My hair started growing, even though I
Mhm.
was still in chemo. And I know that people are surprised. I was surprised by that. Other patients are as well. So I don't, can you share a little bit on, if you are doing and caring and hydrating and all that? For some people, the hair can start to even,
It
reform.
is like most of the time, by the end of the chemo is when you start getting the hair. Okay.
Interesting.
I guess the cells, they start, they have a period of
Sure.
recovering and coming back. So most probably that's why, and you start getting your hair back. But it's what you said, it's a fussy kind of
Yeah.
thing on your head. Then sometimes you lose it again, and then the real hair comes out.
Yes.
And still, you are supposed to massage your scalp just to get some blood circulation
Exactly.
for when it starts growing back. So
I
that
did that,
that's why.
and I also found that to be soothing. It was back to your point about, you used one of my favorite words, to calm the skin. I also found that even massaging the oil onto my
Mm-hmm.
scalp, it was calming me, because there were so many emotions that I was going through at any given moment. I think you pretty much get through that first, process just basically through sheer will, right? I mean, because the
Yes.
mind can only process so many things, and then
Yes.
you start to see yourself, and it can be really traumatic. And so for me, it was soothing to do the massages, and I felt like it was helping my skin also. One of the things that I also found surprising, you said this a second ago, is how incredibly sensitive my skin on my head was. So I
Yes.
I was starting to put sunscreen on it, because again, I
Yes.
never did that before. I use sunscreen, all over my
Mm-hmm.
face and my hands and my arms and everything, but I never have put sunscreen, obviously,
Sounds around yours.
in my
Yeah.
hair. But it
Yes.
was so tell us a little bit about, it's almost, again, it becomes an extension of your face and how you care for your skin,
Totally.
right?
Totally. And I don't know if you have heard about when you are in cold weather and you put a hat on. Like if you keep your head covered, you're hot.
Yes,
Right, if you remove it, then it's when you get cold and all the
correct.
sensations. And what you are saying, it's true. I mean, it's just, I don't know if you try to massage your face as well, but when you massage your face and when you just give the love and the touch, it's just so soothing and calming. That's why, again, I always recommend to do a massage on your face and on your scalp and everywhere if you can. It's just because it's very soothing. And what you're saying, yes, it's an extension of your face. We never think about that because we always have hair,
Exactly.
and more. Most of us, we have long hair, even though we both don't. but
Yes, yes.
but we have hair, and it's covered the whole head. Um, with the clients that I have that are totally bald, is like, okay, are you putting sunscreen? Because yes, you have to cover it, or you have to put sunblock because it will burn. Same thing as any part that is showing skin.
Yes, and
So
very sensitive. I didn't, again, I mean, I think
it
I
is.
didn't appreciate how sensitive it can be, but again, it's a skin that has been covered for many, many years and
Exactly,
suddenly
that's
is
what I was
not.
gonna say. Just remember that the hair also helps to be a barrier, to
Completely.
things coming in to your scalp. So when you don't have that barrier anymore, it gets very, very sensitive because it has never been exposed to heat, to cold, to sun, to anything like that.
Yeah,
So that's why it gets so sensitive, and it's so important to take care of it.
absolutely.
Castor oil, it's a good oil for that, and it helps with the growth of the hair, and just because it fortifies the follicle. So it makes it a little bit stronger. And that's something else that people that are thinning their hair, not losing completely, but they are just thinning the hair, they can use it because it will help to fortify again the follicle. So the hair that you have, it's gonna stay there because it's gonna be stronger. So that's why.
How should it be applied, and how much should someone? And I know we're going to now get into also kind of looking at how to pick the right products and understanding how to, how to read the labels and all that kind of good stuff. But for these oils, especially for castor oil, that, and I've heard so much about, very good things about, how do people know how much to apply and how to apply it on their skin?
The way I apply it is I just put it, if it's a pump, just one pump. Let's say maybe a quarter of a size of the oil. I just put it on both of my hands and I just go on top. It is very nice and better to do it with your finger, with the tips of your finger or your fingers, and just massage it like that instead of, the whole hand just going like,
to apply. So almost apply it the way that we do shampoo, because because shampoo, you rub it in so that you clean, usually that's how we do it, right? So and is the castor oil, is it a thicker oil, or is it
is thick?
So I've heard that. I've heard that it's a kind of a, because like coconut oil is very smooth, very, kind of silky. So this one is not. It's a little bit.
It's a little bit thicker. So what my suggestion would be is just to apply it. If you can do it at night, will be good. Just apply it, put a towel on your pillowcase and sleep like that. You can also use the castor oil on your eyebrows and eyelashes, and they help also when they start growing to be stronger for your eyelashes. You can remove your makeup with that castor oil.
Oh, fascinating. So your eye makeup, you can remove it with that oil, and at the same time it's conditioning your lashes. And if someone, let's say, hasn't used it, so let's say that their eyebrows fell out as well as their eyelashes, and they're now listening to this podcast and they say, okay, I'm gonna go get some castor oil, does it help start the growth process if you've not used it and your eyebrows, let's say, are bare? Using it helps to regenerate that growth?
Yes, it will help you with time to do it. And still, if your eyelashes are not coming out yet, you're hydrating the skin. That's something that we need, is just to help, the skin to get better and to for that compromised layer of the skin to be, to get all the good stuff from the oil.
When you start to use the products like the castor oil specifically, how long does it normally take for most people before they start to see the results? So they either start to see, let's say for someone that is growing their hair back, what's an appropriate window of time? Weeks, months?
It's hard to say because it really depends on each person.
Right.
It could be months. I definitely say no, don't expect if you're using it today that in a week you will see everything. No. Just remember that everything has a process. So 28 days is, normally how long it takes to see any results, like not only with the eyelashes or with anything. If you are using a cream and you don't see any results before 28 days, you just need to wait because it has all the process. You are actually hydrating the new cells that are coming up to the epidermis. So you have to wait for the cycle of the life of that cell to come out and see the results. So it could take a month, it could take 3 months. It really depends.
Got it. And that's a good data point to have, because I think a lot of times, people get frustrated. I haven't seen the result in, a couple of weeks, or I don't see it happening at all. And one thing that I found, personally for me, the eyelashes and eyebrows take a very long time to come back. They are like the sloths of the cells in the body, because it's like one. I mean, they and they're not in a hurry, because all other hair is faster.
Mhm.
At least I've seen it be, but the eyebrows and the eyelashes, they are not in a hurry.
Yes. Yeah.
They're
They
not in
take
a hurry.
longer.
They take longer. So let's talk about, we've talked about some products, and I think, and you touched on, you know, looking at things and making sure that they're not abrasive. I'd like to, and I know that you give really great perspective also on knowing how to read a label. And I think some labels are impossible. So it's not to become an expert on all labels, but to at least recognize the things to steer away from. So I'd
Mhm.
like to, spend a little bit of time on that. And then I also want to connect to that is for people that let's say are still going to the salon, their hair is growing back. And I know some folks want to immediately start coloring their hair again. And so I want to spend a minute or two on that in connection with the journey of understanding, labels and products and what to stay away from. Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us
Huh.
about labels. Yeah.
Okay.
I know you
Label.
winced when I said the coloring, but okay, so we'll start there, because here's what the reason. So when my hair started growing back, I love my doctor, she's amazing. But she said to me, if you want to color, you can. And I heard that from other folks, and I've had, dear ones who have gone through chemotherapy and color their hair right away. And some of them had really bad experiences with that, because I had one friend whose hair turned like a really different shade. It was like an orange shade. I have chosen not to color my hair and ever again. So I am embracing as the gray is coming in. I'm thankful that I have hair that is gray, and all of its wonderfulness. So talk a little bit about that, because that is like the number one question we get, about when can I start
I
coloring my hair
know.
again. I know you get
I
that
know.
too. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a big one. And that is something that I always say, any treatment, we always suggest to wait at least 6 months. Okay. Just because we don't know, and it really depends again on each individual,
Yeah.
how your hair comes out, how strong it is. Because what I have heard is that the hair doesn't come out exactly the same as before. So you really need to see if it works, or if it doesn't work in 6 months. Maybe you need to wait a little bit longer. um, we it's I guess what you were telling me before with your friend, we don't know how the hair is going to take it.
Exactly.
They tinted.
Yes.
um, you can use henna in the meantime. We don't recommend black henna, but just regular henna. I know it doesn't last as long as before, and probably as long as any regular tinting product, but it is more natural, and you can see if maybe it works. If your doctor says it's okay to dye your hair, well, you can do it, but just remember that you are putting something aggressive on your scalp, and especially if it's still sensitive, I wouldn't recommend to do anything like that.
And
um,
that's your point about, so hair starts growing back, wait 6 months to see,
mhm.
what is happening before even deciding. And then if you decide to do the coloring, then you would say start with something very gentle that again is not going to
Yes.
last as long, but can still give you the cover. Some people also
Mhm.
use like the root touch up, which is that spray that
Mhm.
can people use in between coloring. Some people use that,
Yeah.
because that's supposed to, and it washes out,
Yeah,
within a
you
couple of
can use that,
shampoos.
but just remember, Amelia, it's not only for people that are going through treatment, is just for everybody. The ingredients are not good.
That's a really
For
great
you, it
point.
could be
Yeah.
more irritant, but it is something that we're always looking for something. We haven't found anything so far that it's completely clean, with the ingredients that you can use, and you can dye your hair with that.
Exactly.
So, and I'm not a cosmetologist, I'm just a skincare therapist. So maybe if we talk to a cosmetologist, but I have in all the oncology trained estheticians and cosmetologists that are United States, and we have a group, and there is like really nothing that it's completely clear that you
Exactly.
can use, not only for you, but for anybody.
For anyone.
So,
And we did an article that we read a few months back, we shared for our newsletter around the importance of really understanding the chemicals that are in the products that are, coloring agents, just for women, especially to understand any risks associated with cancer as a result of that. Again, it was more just to be aware. I think we make the assumption, we go into the salon and we make the assumption that it's a good product, but not knowing what's really in it. And to your point, understanding how much of it is natural versus what isn't. Those are all pieces that I think we need to be more informed as a consumer than we may be today, just assuming that it's fine.
exactly.
So, and that kind of circles back to the whole label component. So tell us a little bit about kind of your best tips on warning things to say, nope, if it's on there, that's going to be too abrasive, or stay away from these kinds of words on any label. And then what else should we be cognizant of as we're looking at labels?
Okay. Anything that
I now read labels. I never read labels before when it came to cosmetics. And now I'm like, what is that word? And if I don't understand it and it's too hard, I'm moving on, because it's probably not good.
Yeah, exactly. The less ingredients, the better, first of all. So if you have a list of so many ingredients, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, this is, who knows what it's in here.
It almost looks like a chemotherapy bag sometimes. I'm like, what is in this? What is in this product?
Yes, totally. Yes. And the good thing though is that now we have Google. So if we don't find, what that means, that specific ingredient, is like, okay, I better go and look it up. What is this? Right. Is it good or is it bad? So it really depends on, but definitely fragrance is a big irritant. Yes. So if you see anything that says it has fragrance, perfume, no way. Okay, you shouldn't use it. Even
though you would think that sometimes that, oh, that would be nice, it's gentle and all that, but your point is no, you want to stay from fragrance free when it comes to things you're choosing to put and products you're using, other than perfume itself, but that's different.
Exactly. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, like some products, especially like the ones that are made naturally, they do have a smell, but it is not fragrance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's something that fragrance added as an ingredient, it's totally different than the fragrance or the perfume from different essential oils, for example, that are there.
Exactly. Okay? Like coconut oil has a natural fragrance, but it's the essence of that oil,
exactly,
as opposed to an added. It's almost like it's like, it's fragrance is like added sugar. You want to stay away from added sugars. You can have regular sugar, you can have fruit, but you don't need to, dip it into sugar.
Add it. Exactly. Things like that. Yeah. Something that it will dry your skin is alcohol. That's another one that I say, it's not very good. Parabens are also something that if you can, you should avoid. But again, what I do, because I can tell you, I know some of the words in the ingredients and some ingredients, but I'm not an expert. And sometimes it's like, okay, what is this? So I go to the app that I told you that I like, the EWL, and I can scan the product. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I was doing paddleboard with my sister-in-law, and she showed me a sunblock, and I'm like, oh, because I know it has ingredients that are not good. Yes. So I'm like, oh, why are you using this? I said, well, let me get my app, and I scan it, and it was number 10, meaning the worst. And she's like, oh, wow, I didn't know. No, I know. And I said, yeah, you always have to stay in the mineral more than chemical sunblocks.
And those are the
It,
things, right? I mean, and I think that for a patient going through treatment, it's compounded, because I know my skin became so much more sensitive almost immediately. It was, I had, and for me, the essential oils were the difference makers. So for
mhm,
me, it was the coconut oil was magical when it came to any type of rash that would pop up. I would sometimes get these, red spots that they were just temporary. So it almost looked like a little bit of a spot that's sunburned, and then it would go away. But every time, if I applied just a little bit of coconut oil on it, it soothed it and then it would go away. And so
mhm.
I stayed in that lane of products that were basic, as opposed to either
Yes.
starting with something completely new that my skin
Mhm,
had not experienced before, or
mhm.
something that seemed super complicated.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And something that it's I think we all should have in our backyard or even at home is aloe.
Yes.
Aloe is the best, it's calming, it's hydrating, and it is so easy to grow. So especially
There you
here.
go.
So you
Yes.
can have a plant in the backyard and just get the leaf and take the crystals out and just put it on your face. You have to do it um, with moderation, because you can also get sensitized because of aloe. So if you use
Okay.
it every day, all the time, it's not good either. You have to introduce it slowly, as everything what you do to your skin during that time, and see if it works for you or if it
Right.
doesn't.
Right.
And just make sure that you're not allergic to aloe,
Right.
of
So a little
course.
spot test always, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes
Yes.
people also talk about, you know, pores getting clogged if either too much oil is being used or some ingredients. What's the line there on that? Because I've never experienced it. I've actually had the
Hmm.
opposite, especially with chemo. But sometimes oils get a bad rap under the guise that they can clog pores. What's the truth?
Okay, the truth, if you were a regular client of mine, you're not going through treatment,
Mhm.
okay? Your skin is oily. I said, don't go with coconut oil because it can be clogged, it can clog your pores.
Because the person has oily skin, so there's already
Yes.
oil
And
naturally
it's
being
it,
produced.
but just remember that likes attracts likes.
Mm,
So it is not always because you have an oily skin that you cannot use oil on your skin, because
okay.
actually it balances out the oilness. But
Okay.
the coconut oil is famous in the aesthetic companies that coconut oil can be comedogenic, so
Mm-hmm.
meaning it can clog the pores.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one thing. But for example, jojoba oil, it's one that it's very similar to our sebum, and it doesn't clog the pores. So that's something that you can use on your skin. um
When people tell you to, like, spot test something, so
mhm,
we're reading our labels, we're checking this app that you told us about, which we also posted it on the site so people can check that out.
mhm.
When people say spot test something to see whether you have an allergic reaction, if I put something on my wrist, let's say, is it
Yes.
going to, so it's the same. So it's not, if, like, sometimes you think, oh, if my face is sensitive, but my hand is not, it's the same. It's going to have the same
Is the
reaction.
same, or you can
Okay.
always put it behind your ear,
Behind the
like here
ear.
on your
Okay.
neck, right here, and see how it's going to work. But I normally, like, if I'm doing an enzyme, for example, for a client that is not with in treatment, but
Yes.
any other client, and I'm not sure if that person is allergic to the enzyme, I just put it on the wrist and I wait 24 hours and see how it works.
That was my next
And
question. Usually within 24 hours, your skin
yes,
will let you know if there is an issue.
it could be immediately. Like if you put
Right.
something that doesn't agree with you, it's like, oh, it itches, and,
Right.
and you can get the redness and everything. Because that had happened to me.
Right.
So
Yeah. So, but
yeah, but
usually, but even if it doesn't happen right away, usually within 24 hours. If something flares, then that's an issue. Tell us a little bit about, I know, so we've talked about, products, we talked about obviously the routines, kind of putting it all together now into tips for how to establish, let's say a person doesn't have a good or existing skincare routine today. How do they create one that is easy to maintain, recognizing that when you're in treatment, you've got fatigue, you've got other ailments that are tearing at you. So I'm always focused on things that are going to be easy to do and easy to maintain. What are some that you would say here, if you do nothing else, these are the things you have to do to maintain your skin, hair and kind of nail routine?
Healthy. Okay.
Healthy. Yeah. Healthy.
For your skin, for your face, it is important to have a cleanser, a moisturizer, SPF. If you have those three, I think you can manage, everything. You need to cleanse your skin just because, and I always recommend to do it at night and only once a day.
So once a day for cleaning only. So you don't have to wash your face in the morning and at night with it. You can splash some water, but your suggestion is
definitely.
When you go to actually clean, you can do it just once a day at night.
Yes.
Remove everything. Got it. Okay.
Remove it. Just because if you had some type of makeup or just the debris from the day, it's just when you sleep, all the cells regenerate. So you want to have a clean face for the cells to get oxygen and everything. So
going into
that's why it's important. Right. Exactly. That's why it's important to cleanse it. So you cleanse it with a mild soap or cleanser, I should say. And then you have a moisturizer that it would be, if it has hyaluronic acid, will be really good because it helps with the hydration, or even if it's a serum, if you can add it. But we were talking about just three things basically. And the moisturizer, that's it. Okay. And you go to sleep. In the morning, as you were saying, if you take a shower, you wash your hair, whatever, you get, the water on your face. You can use the moisturizer again once you get out of the shower, and then put the SPF. It is super important to use SPF, and I insist, like every time I see a person.
What is the minimum protection? 20%, 25 SPF? What's your?
I will say 30%.
30% minimum.
30 SPF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then that's it. That's your routine to kind of get going. And then if we go into the, basics for makeup. So there are some people that love their makeup routine and do a beautiful job at it. Other people are just saying, help me be able to minimally look, my best and be presentable. What's the best, easiest way to maintain a makeup routine after, the cleansing and the caring of that?
Okay. I'm not like, I used to do makeup like all the time for work and, being with my eyeshadows, everything. But lately, few years ago now, it's like, okay, I'm in a rush. I need to do everything fast.
Exactly.
So what I do is I use an SPF. I stop using foundations. I use an SPF that is tinted. Okay. And that for me has been a game changer because it looks like I have a foundation, but I don't. It's an SPF. You put some color on your cheeks. That way will help you, feel better.
Course.
And sometimes I don't use different brush for my eyes, but I just go on top of my eyelids with the same blush and just go on top, dun, dun, and that's it. Basically, I put an eyeliner and a mascara. Sometimes I don't even use eyeliner. I just use the mascara and that's it. You're going to tell me, but if they're going through treatment, they won't have any eyelashes, right? So you put the eyeliner because having a shadow on your eyes, it looks like you have eyelashes. So that would be the trick. And that is the only way to recreate the eyelashes is by having the eyeliner.
Because
Okay.
it creates a little bit of that darkness. What was interesting is, you know, and
Exactly.
again, and no one knows this until it actually happens, is when your eyelashes fall, even if you have thin eyelashes, there is, to your point, that shadow around your eye. But when your eyelashes fall out, then your eye looks the same color, the surrounding part looks the same color as the rest of your skin. So your eye looks exposed.
Mhm.
In a way that, like, for me, I didn't even realize that that was happening until I, you know, saw what was happening. And so I learned to apply the eyeliner. I used to not use eyeliner before because my eyelashes were enough, but it takes a minute to get the eyeliner to where it can create the effect that an that an eyelash would normally do. But then
Yeah.
you do that, and then last but not least, the eyebrows. Perhaps kind of one of the most central focus points of the face. And again, we don't realize that until they completely fall off. So, and I know that that's a hard thing. I went through one of your seminars early on, 3 years ago. I went through a seminar that you did, which was amazing. And I learned how to, you know, do my eyebrows in that seminar. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know that that is a hard thing to do.
I know it is so hard, and it's even hard to explain how to do it, you know, in a podcast and not when they see me
Yes,
how to do it.
exactly.
But I guess the easiest way to recreate the eyebrows is just to create even if you have no eyebrows, right? There is a little like shadow that
Correct.
kind of know where your eyebrows used to be. So just take
or using a picture, right? So I also had I used a picture because before I did that, I was drawing them on more than what they were before because I didn't remember.
Yes.
So I was overdoing it. And then when I saw a picture, I started to use that old picture of me as my guide. I realized that I didn't have to do that much work. I was working way harder than I needed to create these eyebrows that I didn't have before. So tell us about that. So you use your picture,
that's
right?
true. So you can use a picture, or you can just follow. If you still have that shadow, just get the oh my goodness, I forgot the shadows from your eyes, and you can just draw a little bit, not too much, but just to have like kind of a stencil, if I may say, just to put it there and know exactly where you want to start and where you want to end. The best thing is, and that's what I always show how to recreate the eyebrows, is to take out the pencil and just put it next to your nose straight, like vertically, and just right there will be your first point. Then to draw, we draw 3 points. Then the second point will be when you are looking straight into the mirror and you see where the color of your eye finishes. That is your second point. And again, we are just, going with the pencil vertically. And then the last one would be where your eyebrow is going to finish, that you go from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eye. And right there is where the third point is. And you just need to add the points. The way of adding it is just go with the line with the pencil very sharp, because the key is to have a very sharp pencil, and just start with feathery movements recreating the hair. Okay, again, when you see that the pencil doesn't have that much of the point, then you sharpen again and you do it again. Okay,
because that pencil is going to make it look like little fine hairs.
Yes.
And it's also going to keep it from doing too much, because if you use a crayon effect, they will look, too drawn on. They won't look even how your eyebrows were before. Exactly.
They were look more like a tattoo, kind of.
Yeah.
Not really microblading. It's see the difference there.
Exactly.
So yeah, you can do it like that, and then you take a brush from your eyebrows. They sell on one side, the brush for your eyelashes, and the other side for the
Right.
eyebrows, and you just go on top of it, and you just kind of put it together. Okay, it doesn't make they don't look so harsh or so liney looking, but it's more natural looking. And again, just remember that the eyebrows are sisters and they are not twins, so they
Yes.
are not gonna look
Yes.
exactly the same.
And
Never,
they
ever.
never did before. And that's the thing.
No,
I think we forget sometimes what our eyebrows looked like, and therefore
mhm,
then it becomes, we take on more than what we need to do whatever it is that we want to do. And I think even softer, because even having just a little bit of color on the
mhm,
eyebrow is perfectly fine. It
yeah,
frames the face. You don't need for it to look as intense as a fully thick um kind of,
yeah.
traditional eyebrow. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And you just said it. The eyebrows are the frame of the face. So
Yeah,
that's why they're so important. And you look, you can, like, when you see in the mirror, is like, okay, what happened? It's just because of that. Everybody
exactly.
can change so much with no eyebrows or with eyebrows.
It's
And
incredible.
you can still use stencils. Really, they sell
Yeah,
them. It's just that uh, there are so many different styles and shapes and everything that you just will need to look and see which one you like the most. And then there is a powder that they sell, but it's gonna look more as a tattoo than really as a
then and I,
microblading. Hmm.
exactly. And I
So
think for most patients, they just want to be able to, I know I just wanted to be able to have a little bit of texture in
yes.
my face where my eyebrows were, as opposed to, the recreation of the whole thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
But that's, I mean, that is a very fast and easy routine for makeup and lipstick.
exactly.
Now that we don't have to use the masks all the time,
Yes.
they can definitely help.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
something that I ask to please avoid are the fake eyelashes. They are
Yes.
very harsh on your skin or your delicate area of the eye. So even though I know if it's a special occasion because you have a wedding or because anything like that, okay, but still just be
Like
careful
very careful.
using them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think again, with the right techniques, you can create a shadow effect on your eye without
Yeah.
having to have the extension of the eyelash itself.
Yes.
This is wonderful. So I so appreciate you taking time today to kind of walk us through one, starting with how we really care for the skin, all the way out to what can be an easy way to put ourselves together and kind of show our best self out there, which I know again is really hard to do when you're going through
Hmm.
cancer treatment. But I think that sometimes those little things that you were talking about, actually, at least I found it helped me to cope better,
Hmm.
because it also helped me feel a little bit more myself during
Hmm.
a time where I was, it was challenging to feel that way, and in so many other ways, it was a nice way to
Yeah.
be able to balance it or to
Yeah.
counterbalance it. So thank
I
you for being
understand.
with us today. It was a
Sure.
pleasure as always. We will have
Thank
your
you.
information on the site, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, which is Wellness on Wheels by Lily Bell. Thank you, Tatiana, for being with us today.
Thank
And
you. And
and
I
for
love to be here.
absolutely, we look forward to having you back. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.